Hi, I'm William Cunningham of My Hope in Marriage at myhopeinmarriage.com. And on the website, I provide resources from over 35 years of marriage to help people with marriages. For those who are considering marriage, going into marriage, and those who are newlyweds and been married for a while. And I just hope to help you to have a happy and fulfilling marriage because there's a lot stacked against you if you're not aware of it. Okay. Now, in this particular video, I'm going to share some insights for wives about men and love. Very important. Um, what is love? How can a wife show her love for her husband, assuming she does love her husband? And how can a husband show, or how do men show their love to their wives, assuming he does love her? Okay. Um, so we need to understand, what is love and what is love to your spouse. And it's important that you know that there is a difference there's a difference in how a man shows and receives love than his wife, than the woman. And it's very important that you understand that. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. Okay. So, in this lesson, like I said, in this video, rather, we're going to go over some insights about men and love. And this is to help the wives to better understand what's going on inside of a guy in relation to love. Okay. All right. So the first question we're going to ask ourselves is, what is love? you know, because you need to be on the same page with your spouse. What is love? You need to know what your husband says love is for the wives, and for the husbands, what the wife thinks, what she considers to be love, and how they show and receive. How does, for example, how does your wife know that you love her? Right, because there are going to be certain things you're going to do. There's going to be certain things you say, certain behaviors, and she's gonna read that as he loves me, or vice versa. Right. So what is love? And when you answer that, of course, you can look at a dictionary. You can go online, which I did, but you also have to realize that it's relative. In other words, your spouse. All right. In this case, I'm talking from a man's perspective. Your wife, and for the wives, your husband will have their own concept of what love is. And we may all share, certain characteristics of love, but the specifics are different from person to person. So love is basically an emotion and behavior. It's emotions and behaviors characterized by intimacy and commitment. And I have a ebook on the website. You might want to. I recommend you get it. It's called "What Happens to Love and Marriage," and that goes into a little bit more detail about love, as far as in a marriage relationship. But love is an emotion. It's emotions and behaviors, right? Characterized by intimacy and commitment. Now, there are many types of love, and we're not going to get into all that. That's not the purpose of this video, this lesson. But there are many types of love, even in a marriage relationship, and they primarily refer to I'm going to say an infection, affections and feelings we have for one another, or that the husband has for the wife and the wife has for the husband. It is highly emotional, and it can be complicated because, like I said, it can be complicated because it involves other emotions, and it's also dependent on the person. What I consider love and how I express love may be completely different for my wife, and actually, it is. Okay. Um, Also included in love is commitment. And you kind of understand that because if you love someone, you tend to be committed to them. But in marriage, commitment is necessary to keep love going because if you lose the feeling of love or the feelings, the emotional aspect of love, then you may not want to be in a relationship anymore and you're not committed to it anymore. And next thing you know, the relationship is over. Even if there's no divorce, you just live separate lives in the same house. You become roommates, all right? Which I think a lot of marriages end up, they just are roommates. They have a business agreement. Okay. All right. Um, so you have that commitment and you have the emotions. You have feelings for. I'm going to talk from the perspective of the husband, of the man, but understand that it goes both ways. All right. But what I'm talking about for the wives to understand what love is to a man. All right. So there's a commitment aspect and there's an emotional aspect. Now, the mistake you can make is to think that men are not emotional. Men are just logical beings. Wrong answer. Men are emotional. We have feelings. We don't necessarily, we are not necessarily in tune with it because our society tells us not to be. You know, we, like, for example, I may not know how I feel. I can tell you what I'm thinking, but how I feel, I mean, I feel something, but I don't know how to describe it, is what I'm saying. All right. Now, so we know love includes it's emotional and it also has a sense of commitment, which goes into it being a choice. You can choose to love. All right. And it gets a little deeper, but we're not covering that here. Just want you to know what love is. It's an emotional thing and it's a commitment, which means it's a choice. You choose to love someone. You may not feel like it. Your wife may just get on your last nerve all the time, but you choose to love her because that's your wife. You made the vow, you're committed to the relationship, and that commitment can definitely make things better. All right? That's very important, guys, because you're more than likely going to come into conflicts in a relationship that may blow up or whatever. And you might basically, love will start to die, that emotional part. And over a period of time, if there's no resolution, then the commitment will begin to wane as well. And I talk about that in the ebook, What Happens to Love and Marriage. I get that. Get that, okay? Okay, so it's essential that you know that love is relative. What you think love is not necessarily what your spouse thinks love is. Guys or wives or women, what you think love is and how you express love and how you receive love may not be and probably is not the way your husband receives or expresses his love for you. Okay. And now there are different elements of love. There's the caring. If you love someone, of course, you figure you're going to care for them. You're going to care about them. You're going to admire them. Okay. If you love someone, you're going to admire them. You're going to respect them. Now, for a guy, that's very important. Respect, very important. Okay. Um, and if you love someone, you're going to desire them. Right. So right there, you can get a gist of what a guy might be thinking is if his wife loves him, then she's going to desire him. And what does that desire, how is that desire expressed or how is it manifested in the relationship? Okay. She's going to respect him. She's going to care for him, care about him. And that's going to be expressed in however she expresses it. And she's going to admire him. She's going to honor him, look up to him. Again, respect. Respect is real big for a guy. All right, ladies, respect is very big for a guy. So if you're going in your marriage and you're not respecting your husband, then you're slowly causing problems that you don't even know is happening, and he may not even realize. And one day it's gonna all aggregate, And he's going to say, she doesn't respect me. And then that's going to move into other areas, other emotions will come up, resentment, and so forth. So we won't get in that here. We just want you to know love and marriage, love and men, that these are different elements of that love, the caring, the desire, the respect, the admiration of them. Now, like I said, love is expressed in different ways. Men express love differently than women in general. Not that there aren't overlaps or whatnot, but we tend to conceptualize it differently. Okay, now, it's very important, it's critical that you understand the concept of the love language. All right, there are 5 love languages. There's the word of affirmation, there's physical touch, there's gift giving, acts of service, and quality time. For example, if your husband's love language is, let's say, gift giving, then every time you give him a gift, whether it's a little trinket or whatever, he in his internals, in his heart and his mind, he's receiving that, oh, she loves me. All right. Now, so you have to understand those love languages. That's important. And we're not getting into that here. I do get into that in, of course, the ebook. Now, when a man loves his wife, he loves this woman, he's going to include her in the activities of his life. In other words, he's going to be attempting to be soulmates instead of roommates. He's going to attempt to get her to be involved in him. He wants that unity, that one flesh. That's what he's going after. So he's going to include her in planning for the future, maybe even things that he's interested in doing, his goals and so forth. He wants her to be involved. He wants to be together. And I have a whole concept on togetherness. I have an article on the site called Togetherness. You can check that out. But that's in very important. He wants to share those activities, because those shared activities, when a couple share activities, they bond. When you do things together, you bond. You're bonding. That shared activity could be, doing like home maintenance together, like what do you call it, DIY or home repairs or remodeling something or whatever, painting the deck or whatever. And you do it consistently. You're doing something consistently, and you just bond in that. Okay? All right. Now, another way that a man will demonstrate or express his love, not that he's saying to himself, I'm going to express my love, so I'm going to do this. No, he just does this because he loves. He's going to talk, excuse me, he's going to talk about the us instead of the we. He's going to talk about us and not we. And that's important, because when you're together, it's us. When you're soulmates, it's us. When you're roommates, or like I like to say, employees in Household Incorporated, when you're roommates, it's me. That's a red flag. Me, 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 me. Okay? All right. So that's one way that a man is going to show his love for his wife, is that he's going to be talking about us. He really wants her to be involved in his life. He's not just marrying her because he wants someone to cook and clean. He wants to share his life with her. He loves her. Okay? And that's one way that he does it. Another way that men show love for their wives is that they work hard to give them the best. And sometimes it's not balanced or not perceived correctly, because the wife may complain that he's at work all the time. Well, he's at work all the time because he's trying to get as much money to get move up in the company so that he can provide even more, get a raise or whatever, or provide even more. Or if he has a business, he's going to work hard at that business so that later he has it all for her and for them. All right. So that's another way that he shows love. He works hard, to provide for her. Another way that a guy shows love, and this gets into protection and overseeing and just covering his wife, is that he may bring up, or he will bring up, issues, problems, perceived problems. And it may be tough love sometime. It may be tough topics, but he's going to bring it up because he loves her and he wants the best. He doesn't want her to get hurt or anything like that. He may see that she's doing something that he thinks is dangerous, is risky. So he said something with the risk that she might get upset about it or whatever. But he's going to do it. Why? Because he cares. He loves her. Okay. Now, I said this before, that men and women give and receive love, or they express love differently. And it has a lot to do with their respective love languages, right? You have a primary love language and you may have a secondary, or a love language. But men and women are going to be different. But there are some similarities in general. For example, men tend to express love through physical affection. Surprise, surprise. Through physical affection, quality time together, and words of affirmations. Words of affirmation. So quality time, physical, all right, physical affection, and words of affirmation. That's how men in general. And of course, you realize, the physical affection, of course, because sex is important to a guy, touch is important to a guy. It just demonstrates to him that she's into him, she loves him, she desires him, she wants him. Now, women are more likely to give and receive love through acts of service, words of affirmations, as well as gift giving. All right. The physical part isn't as much. Of course, touch. Now, that's not to say that a woman may not have a love language of physical touch, physical contact. But in general, you get a scope of the differences between how men love, and how women love. All right. Now, this is something is interesting. When a woman says, a man expresses his love through activities. He doesn't necessarily, for example, let me just say this. A guy isn't going to necessarily say, I love you, I love you, I love you. He's going to demonstrate. I write, articles and books. I'm working on some novels. And, of course, I educate myself. And one thing they say is show, not tell. It's easy to say you love somebody, but do your works, do the things you do reveal that? Does it show that? Or is it just word of mouth? Or maybe, husbands, your wife's concept of love is very different from yours. Or it may be something that you're just not aware of. So a man will say, I love you rarely. He's going to show it. Therefore, when a wife tells a man that she loves him, he needs to know what that is. Because if your acts don't measure up, or isn't consistent with those words, those three little words, then he's not going to know what you're talking about. He's looking at what you do. Do you respect him? Do you prioritize the relationship? Do you push him away all the time? Stuff like that. And then you come back and say you love him. Huh? All right? Okay. Now, since we're talking about men in love, let's talk about like men receiving love. Now, how can wives show love to their husbands. Now, there are many ways that a wife can express their love to their husbands. And remember, you got to speak the love language. For example, I like to give this example. If I was in the desert and I'm dying of thirst and I reach the town and I meet a person and I say, water, and the person gives me a steak, well, I might eat the steak and I might enjoy it. And then I get to the next person, water, and they give me chocolate cake. Well, I love chocolate. I might eat it and I'll be like, but I still need water. And a little while later, the person dies because they died of lack of hydration. Okay. So you may express love. Women, you may express love to your husband. You may really love him, whatever that is to you. But if you're not talking his love language, he's not receiving that you love him. You understand? It's very, very important. Okay. All right. So here's some ways that a wife can, demonstrate that she loves her husband. Number one, respect. You got to respect. If you don't respect your husband, as far as he's concerned, you don't love him. Period. All right. If you don't respect him, you don't love him. That's how he's thinking. Period. Respect is key. All right. You feel love because you desire him. How you show that you desire him, that you want him, and intimacy, and of course, sex. Having sex with him is a way that you show that you want him, that you desire him. Being intimate with him is a way of showing that you desire him, that you want him, and he receives that as you love him. She must love me, okay? Because if you don't do that, then it's the opposite. Well, she doesn't love me, I guess. Maybe something wrong with me or whatever. All right. A wife shows her husband, a wife shows her respect and appreciation by giving him her undivided attention. She listens and hears him. That's important. If you love him, you're going to listen to him. You're going to take what he says seriously. You're going to give him your attention. You're not going to be on your phone, blah, 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 while he's trying to talk to you. All right. So that's another way that a wife can show that she loves her husband, listening to him, taking what he says seriously, really listening to him. Sometimes he just wants to vent, maybe, but, listen to him. That's showing you care, showing you love him. Another way that she can show that she loves him is that it's a way of showing that she cares and that she's interested and so forth, is that she may wear something that he really likes, and it could be a dress that he goes wild when she wears it. It could be a pair of shorts. It could be a certain bra, whatever. It's something that she does just for him. All right. And that's just showing that she loves him. He's going to say, she wants me. She's into me. That was nice. That was, she did that for me, okay. She may make him his favorite meal. That shows a sense of caring. I care about you, and so forth and so on. She takes care of herself. She respects him by taking care of herself. She doesn't let herself go. You date him and you take care of yourself. You take care of your body. Maybe you work. And when you get married, you just let yourself go. That's disrespectful. All right. She admires him. We talked about that. She asks for his advice. She respects what he says. She really heeds what he says. She respects what he says. She respects his opinion. She of course, has sex with him. And she even initiates it sometimes. That's volumes to him. Volumes. All right. She's supportive. She works to help him accomplish his goals. Okay. His dreams. And she prioritizes the relationship. All right. So those are some ways that she can express her love or demonstrate to her husband that she loves him. But men see love differently than women in general. But we all want to be respected. We all want to be desired and wanted. We all want to be supported. And of course, you want your spouse, your wife, to do those things, to be supportive, to love you, and so forth and so on. So I just wanted to share that insight for the women to realize that. And one big takeaway is to know your love language and know your spouse's love language. Also, just ask them, what does love mean to you? You know, See, those are those intimate conversations that you should have anyway. All right. Okay. Well, this is William Cunningham of My Hope in Marriage. I hope this video, the insights here will be helpful to you, especially to the women, the married women. Uh, I desire that you do have a happy marriage. Of course, go to the website at www.myhopeinmarriage.com. Check out the resources. If you got a question, just go ahead on and fill out the question form, or you can leave a comment on any of the articles. Of course, leave a comment on this video. And if you like it, go ahead and hit the like, of course. You know the drill. All right. All right. Well, I pray that you have a good one. This is William Cunningham. Until next time, be blessed.